My name is Jessica Sten. I'm a graduate of one of the most prestigious technical schools in the country, Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh.
Ma'am.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name. Would you repeat?
Stensrud, S-T-E-N-S-R-U-D.
Thank you.
And I live in Pucket, Rhode Island, and towards the end of my speech, I'll explain why I'm here protesting this plant. I worked formerly with Diagnostics and Harvard Vanguard Atrius as an HL7 interface developer. I've been scientifically trained and continue to think as such. I oppose this plant because there has been nothing that proves to me that the plant would be safe to build or operate. The gas it uses has not been proven to be safe to either extract or use. The few jobs that would be temporarily generated along with minimal tax relief or power generation would in no way justify the permanent jeopardy to public health or the environment when they could have jobs building alternative energy plants. Once the beauty and natural aspect of this place is destroyed, by the construction of this plant, it cannot be reversed. Can you fix this? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And here's an article from EcoWatch, March 9th, 2016, because they've done a lot of research into this. Competitive Power Ventures, CPV, has proposed to build a 650 megawatt fracked gas power plant in Wauwatosa, New York. The residents of that Orange County, New York, already know firsthand that living near a fracked gas infrastructure poses many of the same health risks as living next to fracking wells. In 2013, a fracked gas compressor station was built in nearby Minisink, New York, to move gas along the Millennium Pipeline. Because of emissions from the compressor station, children living nearby began suffering from nosebleeds, rashes, headaches, and dizziness. A study done by Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project in November 2015 found that the air pollution around Minisink was worse than that of a big city. Families with homes close to the compressor station have walked away from them. CPV's fracked gas power plant would release 43 times the emissions as the compressor station. And it's just one of some 300 fracked gas power plants that are being proposed all over the country. If these plants are built, you can say goodbye to New York City. And if this plant is built here, it could be one like a domino effect, leading to more and more plants. Researchers are finding that the web of fracked gas infrastructure that crosses all over the country has a big emissions problem. And those emissions aren't just bad for local air, they're catastrophic for the climate. Methane, the main component of natural gas, is 86 to 105 times more potent of a greenhouse gas than CO2 in the first 20 years it's in the atmosphere. Cornell Earth System scientist Robert Howarth said, since the planet responds so quickly to methane, if we want to slow global warming, we must immediately and drastically reduce methane emissions. But what Howarth and other researchers studying emissions are finding are scary rates of leakage from extraction to delivery. There's continual leakage at the wellhead, there's leakage from the storage and the processing facilities, purposeful venting, and also accidental leaks. There's leakage in the pipeline systems, distribution systems, and storage systems. If just 3% of the fracked gas being mined and supplied to power plants leak through its life cycle, natural gas is worse than coal for global warming. And the Winter Basin National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration found 6 to 12% leakage rates from natural gas production. And before the Aliso Canyon disaster, they found leakage in the Los Angeles Basin was 17%. The U.S. has a serious methane problem that will go from bad to dire pretty fast if we build 300 fracked gas power plants. In the New York Times, there was an article a couple weeks ago about climate model predicts West Antarctic ice sheet could melt rapidly. Continued high emissions of heat-trapping gases could launch a disintegration of the ice sheet within decades, according to a study published Wednesday, heaving enough water into the ocean to raise the sea level so much as 3 feet by the end of this century. With ice melting in other regions too, the total rise of the sea could reach 5 or 6 feet by 2100, the researchers found. That is roughly twice the increase reported as a plausible worst-case scenario by the United Nations panel just 3 years ago, and so high it would likely provoke a profound crisis within the lifetimes of children being born today. As for my story, my own health, along with countless others, was basically ruined by a toxic mold exposure in Haverhill, Massachusetts, where I took all the precautions I could think of and bought 1/2 of a Connex that had, unbeknownst to me, been built using inferior materials not up to code out of protected wetlands. So my understanding is this plant would also destroy wetlands in this area. Where building occurred, the Conservation Commission declared that area to no longer be protected wetlands. The condos all had particle board inside the walls that touched the ground, wicking up moisture that led to massive mold growth inside the walls. People got sick, moved out, others moved in, the cycle repeated. Realtors had to know, no one was told. Money was made. I'm sure there were a lot of construction jobs. So I don't want that to happen to the people here and countless other people that in the future would move to this area only to be poisoned and have their health ruined. Thank you.
Thank you.